A lot has happened over the last about 3 weeks. Well, the good news is I got 3 new corals. There's my toadstool leather coral. I got a mushroom, which I believe is a Yuma, which I wasn't expecting. I just thought mushrooms are easy, so why not get it? But I ended up getting tough one, and it wasn't attached to any substrate, making it even harder. And I also got a Gargonian, which is non-photosynthetic, which I believe I got too early, but because it looks so pretty, I just wanted to get it, and they're pretty hard to find. I also started carbon dosing with vinegar, and I said in my SCV for giveaway how I'd like to. One of the options I wanted to test was vinegar dosing skin release. The goal of the vinegar dosing is not to reduce nitrates. I'm still going to do water changes as regular. I'm not changing anything to my maintenance schedule. It's basically feeding the bottom of the food chain so that there's more life in the tank, including pods, which for that reason I also bought some cocoa pods from Canada Cocoa Pods, and so I hope those also do well in the tank. I'm gonna try and supplement feed the Gargonian since I just started vinegar dosing, and I know there's not gonna be enough food in the water for it. What my vinegar dose schedule is right now is 1 drop every other day, because I do not want to create a huge bacteria bloom. Now, on to the bad news. What happened was, I went home for reading week. I planned to leave my corals for about 4 days without lights, because I figured it'd be better to leave the lights off for 4 days than on for 4 days straight. And someone else was gonna after come back and turn on the lights and take care of the tank for the rest of the week, which was fine, except during that time, because my main priority was evaporation over the 4 days, I added extra water so that the salinity is lower, so by the time the person gets back, the evaporation wouldn't have had too much of a large swinging salinity, so it won't be super high. And I also closed the lid with the light inside. Problem is though, is that the light rusted because the humidity got so high in there, and the light rusted and the light broke. And I come back and notice and find out the light's broken. So now the corals haven't been without light for 1 week, and I couldn't get a new one until the next week. So my corals haven't had any light for 2 weeks. The ones in worse shape would be my Montipora, my finger leather, and my acan. My Montipora is really losing its color. It's been losing its color before, but I think this no lights for 2 weeks really hit it pretty hard. The acan, it was one of the best growing corals I had in the tank. It was growing the fastest of everything I had, and now some of its skeletons started getting exposed, and I knew that was not good. For my finger leather, it's been already in kind of a bad shape because my emerald crab picked at it, and then after emerald crab picking at it, that's when the lights went out, so it's probably had on a harsh recovery. My torch, I saw a little bit of a skeleton exposed, I think, but he doesn't look too bad compared to the acan. My Dunking coral's okay, seemed to take it fine, and he's still opening up regularly now. My Blasto took it like a champ. Mini Max Carpet and Enemy didn't move surprisingly for 2 weeks without light. I had the old light, then I upgraded it, and the upgraded light broke, and so now I'm using the old light, except the old light doesn't have the same LEDs in it because I changed it for 2 blues, 5 whites, because I was planning on putting on my 10-gallon, which you're going to see in my later video. I'm going to post a few days from now. And so the light is much more white, but I won't say it looks terrible. Nitrates also crept up in my tank, and the reason for that is I won't say it's because I didn't do water changes as much, but I didn't. But mainly because I do water changes based on how much poo I see in the tank. And usually as algae grows, my snails and my crab eats it and they produce poo, which I could see. And once the poo starts building up, that's when usually I do a water change. But because there's no lights, there's no algae building up, which means there's not much for the snails and the crab to eat, which means not much poo. So when I went to my fish store, I see a tank, and it has all the cool corals in it. But those were the ones getting shipped out, so I was like, aww. But inside that tank, there's a basket over top. It contained a bunch of floataways. I really didn't want to get corals. I wanted to get pods to start vinegar dosing. And in the floataway box, none of the corals had plugs on them, which is also why the Yuma I have doesn't have a frag plug, which makes it kind of a pickle. And I saw the Gargonian. When I saw that Gargonian, I was like, I had to take it. I saw the toadstool in there. There was other toadstools there of the same type, except it was a smaller piece. And since it was in the floataways, I basically got a $10 discount on it. The only thing I don't get is it's a slightly smaller and it's not on a frag plug. And yes, that was the smallest toadstool leather that there was at the store of that type. My sister then saw the mushroom, and I'm not gonna lie, it was a pretty mushroom. But I thought, mushroom, easy to take care of. The guy told me, you know what, take it for $15, because just a box of floataways, it'd have to probably be a pain to mount a mushroom too. I was like, oh, easy coral to take care of, a mushroom, why not? $15. So that's how I got the 3 corals. I had no intent of buying them, but that's how I got them. And the best part was, that day, they also had 20% off all their livestock. So I got corals for a really good price that day. That wasn't my intent, but most people, once you walk into a reef store, you just see something and bam, you just gotta get it.